Proof the renewable energy is a scam. Good morning. It's the 4th of August 2024. Proof the renewable energy is a scam. And we had Cemetery Sunday. The rain held off, but now it's back with a vengeance. Now, I have always said, contrary to what people may think, and contrary to intuition, that windmills, if we just take it alone, wind turbines or industrial wind turbines are a scam in that they do not save any fossil fuel at all, and if you count them over a year, they use more fossil fuel than they ever generate or replace, and therefore they're net consumers of fossil fuel. And that was laughed at often, but I can prove it in many ways. So I'm now going to make my case to prove it. The conventional electricity was generated by means of various types of fossil fuel generation and a little bit of hydropower down at the Shannon and over on the Erin River at Ballyshannon. And the biggest example of these was condensing steam turbines. These usually burn coal in a place like Moneypoint. 5,000 tons a day, I was told. And they had a big boiler, a huge boiler with pressure about 3,000 pounds per square inch. And that was fed into a steam turbine which is different to a jet turbine, but like the shape of a jet engine turbine, and was fed in and spun it around at very high speed, and that drove a generator. The steam came out the other end and was condensed by the water of the river. So in nearly all places where you have condensing steam turbines, you have water, fresh water, or maybe seawater will do, but usually some type of water that can be used as a heat exchanger to cool the water down into steam. And so the water is clean and it can be reused over and over again. Now, that was a condensing steam turbine. The other type, which is very popular, now by the way, the condensing steam turbine would be about 67% efficient, 66 or 67% efficient, or maybe a little less. And it was designed to be run for months and months on end. It was never to be shut down. It was used for baseload power. That was to keep the main part of the power going. And it was totally synchronous. So you can add or do what you like with the rest of the grid. This would keep the frequency of 50 hertz correct. Now, also, another type, very common, was the open cycle gas turbine, which is just a jet engine with the shaft coming out in it, run with cylinder, and that was connected to a generator, an alternator, I think, to generate electricity, and there was banks of them. So one big bank of them, there'd be a big plinth of them, there'd be a whole lot of these engines. They use gas or generally form a distillate oil, which is diesel oil. They could use either gas or diesel oil, and they would generate electricity once, and that drove the generator, and they were about 34 to 37% efficient. You could start them up in 10 minutes, less. Whereas the condensing steam turbine took about 24, well no, it didn't take that long. It took about 9 hours to boil up the water and start it. But you just couldn't switch them on and off, because if you did, you'd crack the metal. The metal is meant to expand gradually, stay at a pressure and stay that way for months. It's not meant to be on and off and on and off. That will cause serious problems. Very, very expensive, massively expensive to repair. Now, have you got that? You have the condensing steam turbine, just one turbine driven by steam, and the water condensed and recycled, heated by some form of fuel, gas, coal, whatever, often coal, okay? They're bringing in wood now from America to do it, okay, by ship. Okay, that's the condensing steam turbine. The next type of turbine is the open cycle gas turbine. That's the jet engine run on gas or diesel oil. Then somebody got the bright idea, when they had this going round and the flue gases coming out of the jet engine, they put another boiler, a heat exchanger behind it. And the hot gases from the jet engine heated up the the water in the second boiler, and that water got hot, and it took it maybe a good few hours, I don't know how many, maybe 5 or 6 hours to get up to pressure. And when you had it up to pressure, it's best kept up to pressure. And when it was kept up to pressure, the water boiled and the water made more steam, the very same as a condensing steam turbine. So you got two bites at the cherry. You have the open cycle gas turbine driving with the heat coming out of it, the stage 2, a 2-stage effort. You with me now? And that was, we'd say, 36% efficient here, or less a minute, and another 36 here. You got up to 73 or 4% efficiency. So the combined cycle, or the closed cycle gas turbine, was the most efficient, but it wouldn't run on any solid fuel. It had to be gas or liquid. It had to be diesel or gas. Now, people may say it'll run on paraffin like a jet engine. We'll not go there. It's diesel they normally run. So you have these ideas. Now, the wind energy was meant to shut them down, and it did shut down some of them. And what we're now seeing is the building of rows and rows, it was in the paper, of diesel and gas turbines in Dublin, so that when there's no wind, they can be brought online instantly. Now, the gas turbine takes about 15 to 20 minutes to get going. The single cycle, the open cycle. A diesel engine starts up and you're away. You'll find them in hospitals and other big buildings. If the electricity goes out, they cut in nearly automatically straight away. Do you get the difference? The point about the diesel engine is that its efficiency is very low, because the exploding gas drives down the piston, a valve opens and lets those gases out, and they're gone out into the air, and that heat is not recaptured. Do you get the position now of the different types? Now, what is happening now is, as the proof that wind doesn't work at all, only works an odd time when they get a real windy day, is that they've built those in Dublin. But they're installing these gas turbines everywhere. And there's in Shannonbridge, it was a peat burning station that boiled water and created heat with just its solid fuel, a condensing steam turbine. And you could fish in the one in Lanesborough, the hot water, you could feel it coming out of the river. They used to fish in it. That was the condensing function. So at Shannonbridge, they've done away with the turf burning, making no comment there, but they've installed rows and rows of open cycle gas turbines. And they are run on diesel oil. And they fill the tanks every 3 days. And it takes 56 articulated lorry loads of diesel to fill the tanks in Shannonbridge in County Offaly. So here we have the efficient coal, oil and gas turbines that were already there being weaned out, and the government and the Green Party, Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, and Fine Gael and Sinn Féin too, blowing about the way, we replaced it, we transitioned, Breach Smith in Dublin, we're transitioning to renewable energy. And they've opened up Shannonbridge 56 lorry loads of diesel oil, probably rebated agricultural diesel, every 3 days. So divide that by 3. I make it 28 plus articulated lorry loads of diesel oil every day. What a bloody lie. What a lie these people have told. Haven't they a damn cheek to tell us a lie like that? Now, I'm just after making a submission to Galway County Planning Authority, and there's an application for a condenser. It's described as a synchronous condenser and long duration energy storage unit. Now, I make that to be some type of a tank to hold oil and gas, and apparently the council has to approve the energy storage thing. So this is made to Galway County Council. Now, they call it a condenser, which in my time was called a capacitor, but that's neither here nor there. And among the grounds that I'm objecting there is there's no SCA, but also there's no expertise. It's a company. It's a company, and the company's name is Coolpura, COOLPOWRA, FlexGen Limited, right? Coolpura FlexGen Limited. And this one is direct to Galway County Council. Its reference number is 2460845. I'll repeat again, 2460845. It's the Galway County Council. The applicant is Coolpura FlexGen Limited. Its description is a synchronous condenser and a long duration energy storage facility. I am paying the fee of €20 out of my own pocket. The location is at Coolpura, Cooldura, Coolnagira and Ballynaherskara, Gortnalusky, County Galway. Anyone that's from over there will know. So I'm making my submission and I'm the contact person. Now, along with that application, that's one in. Along with that application, there are two strategic infrastructure developments for a similar project in the one area, and that's illegal. They're splitting the project. We have them on that. The number of the two other projects is 07320094. 07320094 and 07300095. There's only one number between them. So they are submitted direct to Bord Pleanála. So here we have one big project and they've split them into three. And that was ruled illegal years ago in O'Green, Apollo Green versus Bord Pleanála by Judge Max Barrett. And that is European law. The directive says you have to put in the whole project. You have to cover the whole project. You can't split it up into sections. So that'll be a big battleground there. Okay. But the other two is for a substation. These ones are for a substation, and also for a GIS. They call it. It's a gas-fired reserve, a gas-fired reserve power station, a reserve gas-fired power station. Now, the fact that they can have it running on gas and oil means that it's more than likely there's hardly natural gas in the area. It's going to be run on diesel oil. Get the point? So here is another plan by a private company to build an open cycle gas turbine, the least efficient of any, in a rural area in Galway. I think that's East Galway, in a rural area of Galway, and put it through Bord Pleanála. And Bord Pleanála is going to deal with both separately. And anyone that wants to can take them up on this. I think there are other submissions. That's totally illegal. That should have been marked invalid from the word go. They want me then to put €50 on each one. The whole lot comes to 110. And here is the state conniving in putting me and others that I'm unable to make submissions, because if I do this 40 times a year, the cost is astronomical. They try to defeat you every way they can, and they make you go to the court, and they're hoping that some communities will not be alert enough or will not be rich enough or have the money to fight them. But a campaigner like me is up against that, in that you have to pay the fee. Now, lots of groups help put in the money for my fee, and I stopped the whole lot in its tracks. I think I've stopped infrastructure for renewable energy and its associated backup plant scam artists to the tune of about €1.8 billion. I am very, very proud of that. Pride is not recommended in the Bible. I do take a little bit of license to be very proud of stopping this scam. So here we have the ESB and recognised existing companies were generating electricity with no problem. They were doing it in the most efficient way. They were providing us with good constant power. Granted, they were doing an odd strike act and they had a bit of a monopoly. But what you have now is they're slowly but surely pulling them out and replacing them with companies, new farm companies, who now move in on the generation, not on the wind energy. There's none of this to do with wind energy. This is a big capacitor, a condenser, or some type of an electronic device to help stabilise the grid a bit. These were also used to avoid having to put pylons down the south. This is highly technical stuff, right? A substation and a big generating plant out in the middle of nowhere, while they try to close down the ones in Moneypoint and existing everywhere else. And the regulator, as a woman up there, wouldn't give Huntstown a licence at one stage. And here they're building them all over the place and lorrying in diesel. And if there's a shortage of diesel, no doubt they'll get the first preference and the farmer and the transport can go to hell. So they're twisting it. When we had the old system, you had a variety of fuels. So we could get our bit of diesel. The motorists would get a bit of petrol. There was a bit of gas to heat homes. You had the coal down in Moneypoint. You had all of this. And an efficient, lean system. And by shutting down all these, you're going over to rely on all of this diesel. Essentially running the whole thing on diesel. And those plants are only about 34% efficient, so they're taken out and decommissioning. Plants which were 73 or 4% efficient, stable, no noise, annoyance or anything else, and they're replacing them with this and all the wind turbines they can build. And the more wind turbines they build, the more of this plant is needed. Now, is that not the best explanation of a scam, of a Ponzi scheme you ever saw? And no people have to pay their electricity bills, so they can force them to pay it. The defence against that in the European Union was the SEA directive, the Strategic Environmental Assessment Directive. And even in non-EU countries, that's still the law, and that's the law in Britain. There had to be an engineering assessment, an environmental assessment, and all of that. And you only were allowed to build the minimum needed. That's the precautionary principle. You only had the minimal impact on the environment. But now that's thrown out the window. The European Court of Justice in 2419 case ruled that what I'm saying is the law. Here it's completely bypassed. And what's more, the companies which are proposing all this give the name of a consultancy in engineering and environment, and they will not name one of their consultants. They won't put their name down, like John Henry McGurty, Chem GHSY1, and his experience in a generating plant. Nothing. It could be, as I have said in my submission, it could be that the owner of the local donkey sanctuary or the local eel fishermen's club. Could be any of those. Could be the Tidy Towns Committee. No detail at all. So I have that put in here. That's in the 2004 directive. So that's the scam, folks. I hope some of the people over there who are facing this will use my material to put in their own objection, and I will help them. What a dirty, rotten scam. What an attack on the environment. And they're going to build loads of these off the coast, away up off Donegal. And this is Eamon Cabbagehead Ryan. He's not going to stand for election again. And he can hump off and probably get a job somewhere with these crowd and live off our money, paying our bills for the rest of his life. That's the plan. Is that not a scam? Is there anyone who will take me on and meet me in a debate on this? Colin McCartney, the economist, who said years ago there'd be a NAMA for windmills. They're adding, it was in the paper the other day, they're adding €40 to the PSO levy to pay for this. They give them directly to these crowd. They're all broke. They have, their companies are carrying them on their back. This crowd, it'll probably build all this, flog it off to some pension fund or back to the ESB. After them taking the ESB's generating plant away, they'll sell their stuff back to the ESB, and the ESB will buy it off them, and the ESB it'll only charge them the interest. They won't ever have to pay the capital cost. So it'll be built and the loans will all be paid off, and the people will carry the cost because they won't follow them up for what the people are due. So have I explained fairly well the greatest scam ever to happen in Ireland by these green loonies and people voting for them and all of that? It's illegal. It's totally illegal. And all I am doing is trying to fight it everywhere it crops up. They're afraid of me. No submission. They even admitted there was a year and a half there was no submission to planning at all, because they can't get round what I have done. What I have done with the help of one or two other people. That's what happened. And when they go into the High Court on the SEA, not a barrister will mention it. They'll talk about everything. The whole lot of them knows about this. Not one of them will go in and mention, say, oh, what about the SEA, the Strategic Environmental Assessment Directive? They won't mention. Eventually they'll settle, because they don't want a precedent made of this, and I'm out to pin them on it. Meanwhile, this destruction of the environment goes on, and this waste and the taking away of efficient generating plant and replacing it with inefficient plant, just to make millionaires out of buckos who have no input to the existing grid or anything else. It's give everything away. Comment underneath, folks. Let's hear. And I'm only too glad to debate this. I'm up to debate this anywhere. Good luck. Bye-bye. Thank you.